Hello everyone. Today I'm going to make some Italian style meatballs. These can be used in two ways. You can use them if you have a pasta with a tomato sauce, a plain marinara sauce, or you can make them smaller and use them as a starter or an appetizer. You can have them cold or you can have them hot. It's entirely up to you. But what we're going to do today is run through how we're just going to make the mix, what we're going to put in the mix, and then I'm going to make little meatballs, put them on a tray, and I'm going to bake them for you. Okay? So here goes. We've got half a pound of pork here. This is minced pork. It's lean because we really don't want too much fat in it. I've got a half a pound of minced beef, and I prefer again to use lean meat because you really don't want too much fat. I've got day-old Italian bread. You don't have to use Italian bread, you can use any crusty bread, and some milk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pour some milk into the bread and let it soak for a few minutes. While we're getting the other spices ready, I'm going to leave that to soak. I'm going to use some Italian mixed seasoning, which has got thyme, a little bit of rosemary, a little bit of basil, and a little bit of oregano. I'm going to use a good pinch of chili flakes because I like to have a little bit of bite and some spice in these meatballs. Over here we've got some garlic, and I've got a mixture of basil and fresh chopped parsley, some red onions. These will go in. Now I would recommend that you put as much or as little as you like, but the recipe's on my website. So the onions will go in. Give this a little bit of a mix. What you need to do is get the herbs and the onions just to sort of have a little bit of a mix before you put the other ingredients in. I've got 1 teaspoon of salt, and I'm going to use some black pepper. About 4 or 5 grinds of that, and 1 egg. Don't worry about beating the egg, it's going to go in whole, and we'll mix it up with the rest of the ingredients. Hopefully by now the breadcrumb should be nicely moist, as you can see. I'd like to keep the milk in there, and what I'm going to do is just mash up the bits of bread so that they all go in the meat mix and they mix up nicely together. And what this is going to do is it's going to give you a little bit of the tenderness in the meatballs, but also the bread will absorb all the meat juices so you don't get a lot of waste. Now you need to get your fingers in and mix everything up so it's nicely mixed through, and then we're going to make our meatballs. Okay? So give this a couple of minutes to mix, and I'm mixing the egg in. It should be moist, although I don't like it too runny. You have recipes where they suggest you put some wine in or some stock or even water. I think that would make the meatballs too runny, and when you cook them you get an awful lot of juices come out. This way you get a nice consistency and it's easy to use. So have a look at this. This is what we're looking for. A nice smooth consistency, a little bit of moisture in there, and I'm going to roll these out into little meatballs, put them on my tray, and put them in the oven to bake. We've got the mix ready. I've got a baking tray here, and I've lined it with a little bit of parchment to stop the meatball sticking. On the parchment, I've got some olive oil. As you can see, I'm just using my hands to spread the olive oil nice and evenly along the parchment and the baking dish. Now, this little bit of olive oil, I'm going to rub into my hands, so as I make my meatballs, the meat doesn't stick to my hands. So, I'm going to use 1 tablespoonful size pieces. That's going to make approximately 30 to 40 meatballs, again, depending on the size. Welcome back. As you can see, we've got the meatballs rolled and ready to go in the oven. The mixes that I made approximately makes about 30 meatballs that we've got here. Okay, these are going to take about 15 minutes in the oven at 350, but keep an eye on them because you don't want to overcook them. So here we go in the oven. Welcome back, folks. We're going to check on our meatballs. They should be ready now. So I'm going to have a look in the oven to see how we're getting along. It's a bit warm, just be careful. I think these babies are done. So as I said to you before, I'm going to let these cool down just enough to put them or in a meatball sauce or leave them for starters. You can have them cold or you can have them hot. Thanks for joining me today. Please comment on my YouTube channel or my website. I'd really look forward to hearing from you. All the best. Bye-bye.